that's it for playoff basketball. But let us talk quickly about the draft lottery coming up on Tuesday. Um, it's a bigger deal in the NBA, I find, at least this year with the draft lottery, because it just feels like there's more surefire impact stars in an NBA draft than you can get from an NHL draft. From the way that the league works, where one player can have a greater effect on the game. So we obviously know that the NHL draft, we touched on it. Buffalo's got one, Seattle's got two. It's great for them, but I couldn't even name you the number one prospect in the NHL right now. Whereas I am very keyed in on this upcoming draft and the 6 players at the top of it, mostly because the Raptors have a shot at one of those. They have the 7th best lottery odds at getting the number one pick. If they did so, I would lose my mind. My expectations are not up, but great opportunity to get into that top 6 and get a franchise boosting player to add to this fairly young core of OG, Pascal, Freddie, Gary Trent. So definitely looking forward to the lottery on Tuesday night. I think that the 2 biggest stories that we have coming into this draft is well, of course, where the lottery balls are going to fall, who's actually going to get the number one pick and have a shot at selecting Cade Cunningham or Evan Mobley. Those are probably the 1 and 2 guys on the board. But the big one for me is, where will this Minnesota pick land? Because they managed to do the impossible and reverse tank late in the season when they should have been tanking more. They win a bunch of games near the end. Anthony Edwards, stat pads, tries to get rookie of the year. Doesn't work. LaMelo Ball, your winner. But the Timberwolves climb into, I believe it was the 5th best odds now at the number 1 pick. And if their pick does not fall in the top 3, it belongs to Golden State. Something we've already mentioned, but it is a big deal because Golden State already have that 2nd overall pick where they get James Wiseman last year. And now they have an opportunity to select in the top of the draft again. So do they select one of these players in the top 5 if they get that pick with like 4, 5, or 6, and decide that's the guy they want to run with, along with James Wiseman? Then you have your 2 cornerstone pieces for the next 15 years again. Or is it a package deal where it's Wiseman, where it's this pick, where it's Kelly Oubre or Andrew Wiggins, one of those guys, and you're bringing in another star to put with Clay, Dre, and Steph? Or they have so many options. Maybe you just move Wiseman and someone else, or maybe you just move this pick and someone else on your roster. But it means a whole lot for Golden State if they can get this pick. But if you're Minnesota, it falls in the top 3, then of course you have this incredible opportunity to add to a roster that already includes Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, Josh Okogie, Jarrett Culver, a bunch of young guys that you can continue to build around. So really, really fascinating what happens with that pick. If the pick falls in the top 3, then Golden State gets Minnesota's 2022 first-round pick unprotected next year. You got to think it's got to not be as good as this one is going to be, just based on the trend that Minnesota was showing at the end of this season, but definitely a big thing to look at. The other storyline that I wanted to talk about going into the draft lottery on Tuesday night was this trade between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics. Kemba Walker goes to the Thunder along with a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick. And in return, the Celtics get Al Horford coming home, Moses Brown, and a 2023 2nd. So my instant reaction to this was, forever Danny Ainge has been revered as a general manager because he never seems to lose a trade. And from the podcasts and what I've listened to is that seemed to actually get Boston in trouble, because he was so busy trying to win every trade that he was too busy compiling assets and not trying to fit together a team that coalesced, right? And we saw that this year with the struggle that the Celtics had. And so the big thing here is sometimes you have to be willing to lose a trade in order to get a guy that is your final piece, right? Sometimes it takes giving up that 1st-round pick, that extra depth guy that maybe you still want to take a chance on, in order to get your buyout guy, or in order to get the guy that's going to fit in with the rest of the team, right? Sometimes it's okay to lose a trade. And that is what the Celtics had to do here. You have to get off of Kemba Walker's contract. He is up against father time and science, where just a guard of his stature who has had the injuries is not going to have the same quickness, not going to be as effective. You move off of him. People are complaining that they still get a bunch of salary back, but the thing is Horford's contract is up 1 year earlier. So it just gives you extra flexibility moving forward. You have to give up the first because no one else is going to take Walker's contract. You get a decent center backup in Moses Brown that maybe you can work with, or you have Robert Williams, you have Taco Fall, you have Tristan Thompson, I think is gone. It was just a 1 year deal. You got a lot of centers there. Moses Brown showed some flashes of being pretty interesting on OKC last summer or last year. And it's just move Kemba out, refresh things, see if you can change up the vibe. Al Horford was awesome when he was in Boston. He's getting paid a lot, but he is a solid player, and I think he'll try a lot harder when he's back in Boston. So maybe that's something that they can use to have success next season. And then if you're Oklahoma City, this is a fabulous trade. You just continue to gain assets. I don't know. They're up to like 33 draft picks now over the next 7 to 8 years. It's unbelievable. This opens up room. Now they've moved Moses Brown to maybe if they finish and fall in that second, third pick, they're looking at Evan Mobley to be their starting center moving forward. Would be a great selection for them. And then if you have Kemba Walker, who knows, maybe it turns into a Chris Paul situation where you revive his career, make him look great, and then you can get more assets for him around the trade deadline, even more picks to add to the collection, right? If not, I could see Kemba probably being bought out by OKC and going to try and ring chase with a team, maybe the Lakers. It really depends on how the injuries go with him. I hope he recovers. I hope he's back to being the normal Kemba Walker, but science is not on his side. So that's my analysis from that trade. Really looking forward to seeing what the lottery odds shake out to be, and fingers crossed that the Raptors land a top 5 pick. That would be awesome.